If you're a real estate agent and you're tired of cold calling, door knocking, and spending money on ads, then subscribe to this podcast. We discuss leveraging the power of YouTube for your real estate business and how these strategies earned us over $1 million in GCI our first year in real estate. My name is Levi Lascsak and my partner is Travis Plumb. Let's get started.
All right, well, we'll get started today. So top tools for successful video production on YouTube. This is why we're having an off timing or off schedule, regularly scheduled, podcast discussion today for the fact that, yes, we're here at the Maui Invitational or the Maui Mastermind, I guess is what they're calling it. Maui Mastermind. I get the opportunity to speak tomorrow. So anytime you get invited to speak in a tropical environment, I will always say yes, for sure. So actually, I pretty much say yes to speaking anywhere if we get asked. So it's funny, I made a post yesterday about last week speaking at Inman in New York and also getting to ring the bell for EXP on the floor of the NASDAQ. Tremendous opportunity, something that I would have never ever even thought would have come about in this whole adventure of YouTube for real estate, basically. But what I kind of posted on there on my Instagram was just the point is that came from relationships. We were there with, I don't know how many people they invited, between 50 to 100. I didn't do a count, but otherwise it was, a ton of top producers from EXP brokerage that got to go there. These are major players in the real estate industry with the attraction business, organizations there, and then there's us. There's us 2 years in the business and there, but that came from relationships. That came from the fact that going to these events, I develop relationships with agents, with team leaders, with influencers, with corporate staff, and that's what happened. In particular, corporate staff member that I see in the gym at 5 a.m. at every conference, because I maintain a schedule as best as I possibly can. So whenever I come to conferences, I will go to the gym in the morning. And, one of the corporate personnel is always there at 5 a.m. as well. And so we just got to know each other over several events over the last 18 months, you could say. Any event that we were at together was just showing up and seeing each other at the gym. And so, that's a positive influence. Then they know you're not staying out all night partying. Nothing wrong with that, of course. But if we're going to have the opportunity to speak, then that's something that I take very seriously. And so just try to maintain schedule. But ultimately, that's how I got the invitation, was through relationships, because that person, had the opportunity to invite some people. And because we stay consistent and show up to these events, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, you're going to be," and then he heard I was speaking at Inman, so of course he knew I was going to be in New York, and that of course helped out a lot as well. And said, "Hey, would you like to come ring the bell on the floor of the NASDAQ, with the corporate staff?" And it was just like, yes, absolutely. Pretty cool. Now in the group picture, I kind of got buried off in the back. There was definitely a lot of people that wanted to make sure they were up front and center, and so that was all right. But it was still a great opportunity. But just a fun story there. Let's see, Brock, Jonathan, good to see y'all. So we got some good people here today, and if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and come on up. Michael, I see you got your hand raised. There's not much in your bio though, so if you don't mind, if you fill out a quick bio, then we'd be happy to bring you up and go from there. So let's talk about some top tools. Chrissy, is there anything in particular that we wanted to start off with, or is there specific questions that we see coming up over and over again when it comes down to tools for your business?
Well, lots of people are just kind of looking for how do they improve the actual footage of their video? What are some essential things that they need to do?
I'm sorry, I don't know if you're far away from your microphone or if it's just me.
Oh, can you hear me better?
Oh, that's way better.
I just realized that my microphone was in the wrong direction. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of people have been asking about just what do they need to do to improve their video footage? From the actual footage and the sound quality to the actual flow of their video. What are some of the main tips that you employ when you go out and you do these videos to help your videos not only be really good footage, really good sound, but also be really efficient with their time?
Okay, so if we want, the thing is we always talk about audio being very, very important on your videos. Audio is almost even more important than video quality almost, for the fact that nobody wants to listen to bad audio. Even just like now, it's like, okay, well, Chrissy, are you far away? I can barely hear you. It makes it hard to pay attention. Got to make sure the mic's plugged in, it's working. And
I
so,
did that on purpose.
Yeah, right.
I wanted it for this object lesson.
Great lead in there. So, and that's the thing is that's where people capture that. But then also, if you're going to be out and about, it's very important to get rid of any background outside noise distractions as much as possible. And so that's where for something that I use now more than ever is the Shure MV88 microphone. So that's SHURE Michael Victor MV88, and you can easily look that up on Amazon. The Shure MV88, it's a plug and play into the iPhone, and it's very simple. Now, what I like that is there's no batteries. You don't have to worry about it going dead. No Bluetooth connectivity. You just have to make sure that the green light comes on whenever you plug it in. Now, here's the thing: if you just swipe on your camera to open it up without unlocking your phone, it's not going to pick up the microphone, right? It's not going to make it work. And so if you've ever plugged in something and it says phone needs to be unlocked to read the accessory, something like that, you do need to be mindful of that. So unlock your phone, and of course turn off your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth. Even though I use a dead phone, pretty much, it's my previous, I'm still using my iPhone 11 Pro, then it's a dead phone, but for some reason I still get notifications and things come through on there, so I just make sure to turn off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi just to be sure that nothing comes through whenever I'm recording. Open up the camera with, after I put in my passcode, plug in that microphone, the green light comes on, and I'm ready to go. I have a little cover on it. They call it a dead cat. It's more like the size of a mouse, so I would say it's more like a dead mouse. But anyways, it's very furry. If you've ever seen somebody with a microphone cover it has a very furry, it looks like Einstein's hair, really, is what it looks like, Einstein's hair covers that microphone. That's what they call a dead cat. And that is wind dampening or wind softening, you could say. That cuts down on the wind and the background noise. Now, the Shure MV88 is also a directional microphone, meaning it points at you. So once you have it turned, this one's a little flexible to where you can, move it directional, but you want to move it to where it's pointed towards you, because a directional mic means that it's going to pick up directly what's in front of it and pretty much cut out anything behind it, which is very good, because if you're on a sidewalk, if you're outside in a sidewalk or walking around, then if a car drives by or anything like that, then that is going to reduce that noise significantly. Now, the other thing that I've learned, though, is that as you're walking, make sure you don't drag your feet. That's something that I've picked up on a few videos after the fact is if I'm walking through a neighborhood and I'm walking by a house, and if I slow down, I have a tendency of dragging my feet a little bit or just enough to where it just catches on the concrete and makes that sliding sound. And so now I'm mindful of that, and I will pick up my feet. The other thing is that if you're like Jonathan, living in sunny Southern California, every day of the year, maybe you're out there wearing flip-flops because nobody's going to see you from the waist down, technically, in your video, likely. And if you're like, but if you're wearing flip-flops and your flippy floppies are flipping flopping and making that little sound every time you walk, hitting your heel, that is something you want to be mindful of. So these are all just things that you start to learn and understand, especially if you watch back your videos and you're like, whoops, that's don't need to drag my feet anymore, don't need to wear flip-flops or things like that. So even though in Texas, yes, Dallas during the summer can get very toasty, and I'd love to be in my flip-flops out there.
Allow me to take a quick break to remind you that we have very important links in the description below. If you want the full story of how we closed over $1 million in commissions our first year and over $2.3 million in commissions our second year, check out the first link. Also, you have the link to our #1 Amazon best-selling book, Passive Prospecting. Last, if you enjoy this podcast and you're a giving person, leave a 5-star review, please. Now back to the episode.
But I'll just throw on some tennis shoes if I'm going to go out and film. But clearly I can wear some shorts. Nobody's going to see that. Not that it's a big deal anyways. I really do think that dress is interesting these days. I don't know. I think that Gary V really introduced the whole t-shirt and jeans concept of a business professional. Nothing wrong with that. So I think, T-shirts and things like that are a lot more acceptable. I mean, I don't recommend it a lot on very first meetings or listing appointments, so to speak, but there's people out there that do that, But at the same time, just I would always say dress accordingly. But for the most part, in our videos, I'm in a T-shirt. And I think that, it still attracts a lot of business. Now, if we do a listing video that's up there, or even, doesn't even have to be up there. We did a $500,000 listing. Travis did that one, wore a button-up shirt, and we actually just filmed one a couple of days ago, a new listing we got. And I'm wearing a button-up shirt, no code. It's a $600,000 listing. So again, but I'm still wearing a button-up shirt and looking presentable. And then of course, we've done multi-million-dollar properties as well, and that's where we might throw on a sport coat. So I do think you can dress accordingly to the content you're shooting. But yeah, if you're going to be out there in the middle of the summer, nothing wrong with a t-shirt. But otherwise, as far as the audio, I've also played around with and have used before the Bluetooth plugins where you can wear a lapel mic, or you can, or what they call a lapel mic. You could clip it on your shirt. You could, and it's Bluetooth to the plugin that you have on your iPhone. So kind of the same concept. I think what I found from that wasn't ideal for me, at least, was batteries. If batteries start to go down, or Bluetooth gives out for any particular reason. They were pretty good on batteries. On Bluetooth, I don't think I ever really had a problem losing connection. So the Bluetooth always seemed like it functioned okay. It was more of a battery issue. So there wasn't really a battery indicator on those types of microphones. So I'm not even sure. If you search that on Amazon, then you'll find that, little Bluetooth iPhone lapel mics. And anyways, I used those for quite a while, but that was the thing that I didn't really like is the battery aspect of it. And there wasn't really an indicator to tell you. It would have a little light or something, but the thing is if you turn it on and the batteries are going to die out, it doesn't really tell you that, but except for if you lost connection. Now, it does have a light on there to show you Bluetooth connectivity, but again, if you're out there walking and talking and then you may you may not notice that. And so I think that was also my first issues whenever I got the Shure MV88, that I didn't like it in the beginning because I felt like half the time it recorded my audio, half the time it didn't, and I couldn't figure it out until I realized, I've got to unlock the phone and make sure the little green light is on there as well. So of course I'm your typical guy that just busts open the equipment and plugs it in and gets to work without reading the instructions. So I think it took me a couple of times and a couple of videos that I had to do some retakes because I was like, why is the audio not working? And that's just something you want to be mindful of. So make sure you have connectivity, you have green lights, blue lights, whatever the indication light is, you want to make sure that it's on and ready to go to make sure you pick up good audio quality on there. And that's pretty simple. I know most of the plug and plays, there hasn't been a lot really developed on the Android side. Most of those have connectors or like adapters, right, Chrissy, for the iPhones? Or have you found a good microphone for Android phones.
Yeah, I mean, the same one works. You can get an adapter for it. The big thing for the Samsungs is you have to usually have an audio converter, which you can just get at your provider. So, I mean, it's the same stuff for the most part.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, let's see here. What's up, Brock, my man? How you doing today?
Hey, doing pretty good, Levi. I had two things. One's actually an invitation. Since you like to come to warm weather, I'd like to invite you to a Sunday dinner to talk about YouTube secrets, if that works for you. And secondly, question for you on the editing side. As far as entry level, do you find that it's better to find an individual, like, that's on Upwork or something like that, or a company, just to up your, the next step up from, just the individual editing that I would do at, a zero skill set?
Yeah.
Take my question.
Well, yeah. What was that first part? Invite to talk about YouTube secrets where?
Well, you said you're willing to speak anywhere as long as it's on my thing. To Tampa to Sunday dinner and come talk to my family about you.
Sunday dinner at your house?
For sure.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, where is that at? Where do you live?
Tampa.
Oh, I'll be in Tampa next week, actually. Yeah, I'll be at Tampa next week.
That's right. I forgot.
Are you coming to the event?
I'm planning on it. Yep.
Oh, well, plan. Hey, look, Yoda says there is no try, only do.
For sure, you got me there.
So planning on it means, yes, you would say, yes, I bought my ticket, I blocked out the day, and the half day on Friday. So, yeah, I mean, if you're local, you have to be there, absolutely. So that's a non-negotiable. So we'll do a nice trade-off there. As far as you come to the event, and I'll meet you halfway, right? Since I'll be in Tampa, you can drive the few miles down the road and come to the event.
You got it.
So yeah, cool. So and the second part, yeah. Are you not familiar with our editing team?
I'm not.
Okay, well, then that would be my recommendation right there. So there's a couple of things you can do on editors. And I absolutely recommend that you don't do any of your own editing, just because it's really not the best use of your time. But you can go on Upwork or Fiverr, somewhere like that, and find an editor. Now there's the upsides and the downsides to that. I would say the upsides are on Fiverr, you can find people that edit videos for extremely inexpensively or cheaply, I would say. But again, the old adage of you get what you pay for really comes true with that, because you can find people on there that edit videos as little as $20 or $30 a video. But again, you're going to be dealing with time zone issues and language barriers. The people that do $20 and $30 video edits typically do not have the best English, and it's just difficult to communicate. On top of that, they're in different time zones, so they're up usually like midnight to 8 a.m. So if you don't catch them first thing in the morning, it may be another day before you can get to communicate with them, if that. And usually communication is pretty poor. Takes them 2 or 3 days to sometimes get back a first edit. It can be way off of what you want, and so kind of establishing all of that is the challenging part. It's possible and you can do it, but that's where a lot of people tend to get frustrated, or they get somebody to edit a few videos and then all of a sudden they disappear. Sometimes the cheaper VAs are notorious for that, of just doing a job or two and then all of a sudden they're gone, and they're hard to reach out to and get a hold of. But on top of that, they don't know optimization. I can almost promise you not a single editor knows anything about optimization. Now, if you find somebody stateside, then you're going to be paying the price for that. You are going to be paying a significantly higher price, and it's going to be a lot more to deal with. You're going to have a higher budget, but your quality should be next level, top notch, very, very good, and but it's going to cost you. So I think with our editing agency, we found the happy medium where it's a full turnkey service, and it's based on different packages as far as if you want to do 1, 2, or 3 videos a week, and it's completely turnkey. So you don't have to worry about tags, titles, descriptions, thumbnails, hashtags, all of that. Not only does the video get edited, but it gets completely optimized as well. So you can focus on just creating the content and being the best business owner you can be by creating content. I do believe this is the best thing you can do right now. We've talked about this for several months now, not only just with our team but on here, is that we do believe the best agents, or the agents that are going to win in this market currently, is the most visible. And right now, as things start to come back, I will tell you, just in the last 2 weeks, we've had a major uptick. I mean, we just put like 8 deals under contract. It was the first two weeks of January were very, very quiet. It was a little concerning. We're like, all right, is this going to keep going on? And just within the last 2 weeks, I mean, the sentiment on our side, with 3 listings and like 5 buyer contracts, then it's people just get the sense that people are just saying, all right, well, it is what it is. Let's move on with our lives and things. We need to either buy a home now or we need to sell now for whatever situation. Like one of the listings we had, they had been building on a home for the last year, and now it's getting close to completion. So now they're ready to move out of that house and let it go, and so that's why they sold it. Same thing, or not same thing, but another home. I mean, this couple that we listed, they moved away, so need to sell their home. So people are buying and selling homes every day in the market, just a matter of where they find you or not. And so and they're finding us more and more, and the listings are coming out more and more now, from the channel as well. So it's all just part of the process. But the most visible agents are going to win in this market because people are transacting, and it's just a matter of whether they find you or not. And I don't know, maybe that's not through video, but if you are a caller, or if you're a door knocker, or if you're a print, a mailer type of person, a postcard person or something like that, you just got to increase that, I believe. You got to do more of it right now. But right now we've seen, just in the last 2 weeks, I mean, a huge uptick and definitely a shift in the sentiment, I would say, or the mindset of the people versus, even just with a little bit of fluctuation on interest rates. I mean, nothing too serious, but I think people are just realizing it's time to move on and go about their lives. So that you can reach out to, let me see, you can go, Brock, you can go on passiveprospecting.com. We have a tab on video editing, and you can click on there and you can schedule a call if you want to talk about that a little bit further. And again, like I said, you can find different avenues. We're not the cheapest, we're not the most expensive though, I will tell you that. And I do believe we found a happy medium there, and we did that on purpose, because we wanted to serve, as best as we could and offer that opportunity to people. And we always know budget is a concern. And I think the best way to do it is just do it all in one shot, turnkey, so that you don't have to worry about anything else. So check that out, passiveprospecting.com, and we have a tab on there for video editing. You can definitely hit that up. Let's see, Trey, what's up, Trey? How are you doing? Are you there?
How are you?
Good. Good.
I've got a question about gear. I noticed that you don't use a stabilizer, like a handheld stabilizer, when you're walking around neighborhoods. Is there a reason for that, or do you guys do the stabilizing, in the editing process?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't like it. That's why I think I tried to mess with the gimbal once. It's just not my thing to mess around with that. I mean, professional videographers like them quite a bit. But for me, no. I think the iPhone 11 Pro and above have such good stabilization built into them. And that's the thing. I mean, you can smooth some of that stuff out in editing as well, but at the same time, you'd be surprised. I mean, even if I take some driving footage, it comes out. I mean, I don't recommend this at all, because I'm not liable for disclaimer. I don't want to be liable for anybody, holding their hand out the window or anything like that. I mean, you can buy suction cups You can, buy things that will just hold your phone, and dash cams, anything like that, if you want to gather driving footage. But even just that, you'll bump around. You hit a bump, you hit a dip, you hit a rock, a stick, it doesn't matter, and you feel the movement. But what's amazing is whenever you go back and watch the footage, it's very smooth. And so even whenever I pass it on to an editor, it's the stabilization really adjusts for all of that. And so for me, walking around, just the $20, I have a $20 tripod by a brand called Ulanzi, Ulanzi, and again, that's on Amazon for $20. It's one of those little adjustable tripods that has the bendable legs, but otherwise I just hold it. It's about a foot long, and I can tilt the camera at like a 45-degree angle. So whenever I hold that out, naturally with my arm, it's almost like a straight shot to me with it on there. So as I'm walking around, it stays pretty stable unless I'm just moving a little bit too much, and otherwise it does a trick for me.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's see, Michael, what's up? How are you? Are you there?
Hi, sir. Do you hear me?
We do, yes.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the stage. I have a question about video editing. I'm a video editor for YouTube myself, and I have a question regarding to one real estate channel that I'm working with right now. The thing about this channel is when I joined this team, their views was like about 100K or above. And I joined the team and I edit a couple of videos, and I turned the quality a little bit more better. For example, they were in a scale of 1 to 10 in editing skill, they were at 4, and I add them and I make them like 7 or 8 right now. I'm not saying my editing is 10 out of 10. It's like about 10, and they were amazed by my editing. They were like, "Wow, what are you doing? How you do this stuff?" I do whatever I can to make my client happy. But the thing is, their views goes down day by day, and and as hard as I try to make at first I think my editing is something wrong with my editing. I try to do it better and better and better, and the views goes down and down and down. So I was thinking, is there a way that I can make my client better? Recently, my client asked me to reduce the quality because he told me that he can't pay for the quality that I'm working with, but I don't want to sacrifice the quality of editing. So is there a chance?
Is there a chance, I'm sorry, you kind of cut off at the end there. Is there a chance for...
I'm not sure. Is something wrong with my editing? Because I don't know if you have any tips or something for me to edit in different way that make the views goes up, or maybe it's not my fault. They should work on something else. What should I do right now? I don't want to sacrifice the quality, but I don't want to be paid less. So what's your suggestion?
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, I would say that it's going to be my assumption. I mean, I'd have to look at the channel to really give you a definitive answer, but just based on the information that you're giving me, I'm going to make the assumption that it's not likely the editing. I mean, usually the editing is not the biggest deal. I mean, I've seen some pretty crappy edited videos that have done very, very well. And so as long as the audio's good, the editing is more like icing on the cake, I would say. I mean, I would always look to the content first and the engagement of the person that is making the video. Now, the thing is that, you don't have to have the personality of Jim Carrey, to be a successful YouTuber, but I do think you do need to make things interesting. Education and entertainment are the two most, reasons that people are on YouTube. Education and entertainment. Now, if you can couple those two to where you edumatain somebody or edutainment, whatever the proper term would be to mold those together, you can educate and entertain at the same time. That's always going to be the best recipe for success there. And we know this. The thing is that we meet people all the time, and some people are more interesting than others, and some people can hold a conversation more than others, and that will come through on video. So that would be something I would look at. I don't know if that's your place to have that discussion with them, but as far as, first of all, are they engaging? Is the information good? Is it relevant? Do they have a good flow? Because they can give you some stuff to edit, and you can piece it together and make it look good, but if the substance is not there behind it, then that's where it could suffer as far as viewership. And then I would look at, you said they had some videos that were very successful before. I would start looking at what was the content, what was the information, what was the message on those videos, and look at what they're doing now. Now, if you want to offer them suggestions or something like that, then if that's your place to do it, I would go for that. I would say, hey, look, I just noticed that the previous videos you did a year or two ago that were really successful, you touched on these points, or you made this point, or you gave a lot more in-depth information, and if they're not giving as much information or good quality information, or the energy from them, even as the creator or the personality, if that's starting to die off, and that could be a challenge too. If people have made videos for a year or two or three, they can start to experience some burnout, and also maybe just not have the same emphasis or something that they put into it as they did in the beginning. So I would probably look at that first versus your editing. Now if they're trying to cut you down because of budget or something like that, that's just something to where, if I were you, I would, you have to make that decision. But also, I would do my best to not do that. I would also have that conversation if it comes down to budget or something like that. I would never want to compromise my quality as a creator. So if you're turning out a really good edited video for them now, and they need to pay you less because of budget, or business is slow or something like that, I would, maybe there's less effects or something you add in there to it, but I would not want to decrease my quality of that video that I turn over to them. And the thing is that if you help them turn that around by helping them see some areas of improvement, or maybe some things they did in the past that they're not doing now, and they can incorporate, and maybe help them pick that back up, and it starts to turn over some more business, then you're positioning yourself as an asset versus a liability. Because if you're just turning over edited videos to them right now, and you're in danger of losing pay, or getting pay reduced, or possibly them even eliminating you, then you probably want to consider, you got a couple of options. Either provide them additional value by making some suggestions, or looking at older videos or content or information that they provided before. Maybe they can repurpose that, or make that video or that same style of video again, and put yourself in a position where you're helping them out, but also let them know, hey, look, I'm not the expert on this, I'm more of an editor, but I just noticed some things, and maybe we could try some stuff out. Then you're putting yourself in a position as an asset, versus just a cost or a liability, and that could help them, see the value in that, to where, they just may be looking at a cost right now and thinking that that's the reason of low turnout or low views on their channel or their videos. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Have you experienced yourself dropping the view because of changing YouTube algorithm or something like that? You do whatever you did before, but the views suddenly drop because of something out of your hand.
No, I don't think so. I think that's more with other platforms. The other platforms seem to be changing algorithms, favoring this, favoring that, liking trending audio, liking hashtags. Now they don't like hashtags. Now they don't want trending. I mean, those seem to be a lot more volatile on other platforms. I don't think YouTube has really changed that much, except a few years ago they came out and said that view duration, which is how long somebody watches your video, is one of the major factors. But now you'll notice sometimes you'll get a little poll or a survey after you watch a video. I mean, so now YouTube is kind of moving a little bit more towards user experience now as well. I mean, view duration does matter, and that does help. But the thing is that I just think you got to make better videos. Whenever the market took a dip here and the buyers seemed to disappear and the sellers didn't know what to do as well, we made more videos, and then at the same time we changed up the quality of what we were doing and the editing and things like that as well, because to make a better video. And so that's what I just told myself. I was like, look, we've got to make better videos and add more features and benefits and things like that, and just change it up, because we've been kind of following the same format for almost 2 years, and I just knew, okay, now it is time to and plus there is more people coming in, especially in the Dallas market, making videos, so I have to be mindful of that as well. And so the more videos that go out there, I mean, 2 years ago whenever we started on this, it was definitely a lot easier, less competition, less videos, and a lot easier to rank. And so we are part of that problem just because we're helping people do this as well, and we've helped agents in our own backyard. I mean, some of them are in our team or in our organization at EXP, and we help them just as we would help ourselves. And so it's a catch-22 of introducing more competition into our own market, but at the same time, if we help other agents be more successful and produce more results, then they're going to stick around with us in our team or in our organization. And we actually just had a team member that left our team. They're still in our organization with EXP because their YouTube channels picking up and started generating them business. So it's kind of like direct competition with us, but at the same time, because they're in our organization, we champion that. We're happy for them, and we're like, cool, now they're breaking off on their own, and now they have the potential to start their own team and build their own organization. And as long as they stay with us within the brokerage, we're okay with that. Now, if they leave, then they really become direct competition. So it's a little bit more of a challenge. But the thing is that I'm not going to stop anybody from creating channels in Dallas, anyways, regardless whether I teach them or not. And there's plenty of people. I don't say plenty, but there's other people out there that teach YouTube as well. And so if we don't help people, somebody else will. I just know that we've actually done it. Number one, some out there haven't built a real estate channel, but they can definitely look at ours and take concepts and ideas and principles and just regurgitate that and teach it, which is fine. I mean, they can do that if they want. But if I was going to work with somebody, I'd always look at have they done it themselves. I mean, when I look at coaches and mentors and attending training classes, that's my number one thing. Is I'm always like, okay, what are their results? Have they done it? Are they teaching me what they've done before? Or are they just teaching me concepts and principles of what they've learned from other people, and how successful they are? Because I want to know if they're ahead of me in income or production or the things I'm trying to achieve, then I'm definitely going to pay more attention. If they're not, then I may not want to pay into that or buy into that. But at the same time, even somebody that's behind me in income or production or something like that may have some new ideas or concepts. I'm more interested in, are they doing it and working on it and innovating and finding new ways. But for us, it's we're still in it, we're still doing it, still working with our team and producing and working through this market just like everybody else is as well, and navigating that. And so as we do that, we learn. And so I think as far as going back to your question on the algorithm and YouTube, I don't think it really has changed that much. I think it comes down to, you want more views, make better videos. Make better videos, get them ranked, make better thumbnails, A/B test all your thumbnails, and figure out what's going to get more clicks, because that's the other thing. That's something else you want to look at, is look at the current thumbnails that are getting put on those videos, because if it's not getting views, I would be interested in knowing what's the click-through rate. Do you have access to the back-end analytics of their channel? Are you a manager in there?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So that would be something else I'd be interested in is their click-through rate, their current click-through rate, because if they're not getting the clicks on their videos in the first place, then they're not going to get the views. So look at the other thumbnails in their market. Look at their thumbnails. Look at, there's just a lot of things you want to look at, but ultimately I think it comes down to, making better videos as far as content and information provided. Not so much on the editing. The editing does help, but I wouldn't say it's the major factor.
Yeah, and just that too. I mean, we actually got a question like this with a client that I had a meeting with a couple of days ago, that they were concerned that, we took over the channel and all of a sudden their views dropped dramatically. And so I jumped into their analytics, and what I found was that the team that was working on their campaign before, all of their traffic was also coming from direct link traffic, which means, and it was 0% was coming from the YouTube search and YouTube suggested. And that's another thing that's different too, is a lot of times if you switch things up and maybe in your case, with the better editing style, they started to see more of the organic traffic and they weren't sharing it as much or something like that. There's a lot to unpack with that. But ultimately, what you'll find is like that direct link traffic, you can see it in the traffic sources. You'll see these giant spikes and then it dies off. There's absolutely zero interaction after that has been shared with somebody. So it also depends where are things getting shared, and that's why we always talk about, do not share this on Facebook. Don't link to your email list at the beginning. You want to build an organic audience, because that continues to grow. Direct link traffic immediately dies off. This particular client, they had shared something in November, and I could see exactly where they had shared that and on what days, because they had these giant 100 view spikes on certain days, and then since in between those days they had 0 views. And so versus the ones that we had started sharing for them, they were still growing, and actually one of the videos was about to take off again, that had been put out about a month ago. And while on paper it initially looked like it was growing slower, it was actually growing, versus the other one wasn't growing. They were sending it out to what I like to call platform cheerleaders, which are not buyers. Unfortunately, it's like your grandma saying that she loved your video, but she's never going to buy a house from you, right? So that's another really important thing to keep in mind, is that sometimes when you get started with this new style or the format that we recommend, it kind of flips your analytics on their head, because versus, you're instead of getting all this direct link traffic, you're starting out basically starting out from the bottom. And maybe your first video gets 10 views, your next one maybe gets 25 views. That looks really small compared to the 1,000 views that you were getting with ad spend, or the 1,000 views that you were getting from your 100,000 email list. A lot smaller at first, but when you flip those analytics on their head, ultimately that means growth, and that means people who are seeking you out on YouTube. Those are your hot leads, those are your hot buyers, and that's the audience you want to cultivate. So that's another thing to keep in mind, that not all traffic is equal. Not all traffic means the same thing, and so it's important to not put too much importance on those vanity metrics, because a lot of times they're very deceiving. And again, I know that you're probably not in your team's analytics, but something that your team needs to keep in mind is also, what's the goal of the channel? Is the goal of the channel to monetize the channel and get as many views as possible? Or is it more important for them to get interaction in the comments, phone calls? So that's definitely something to keep in mind. So goals and content are intertwined. Making better content that's actually searchable content, and not sharing that on another platform, hoping to drive leads that way. There's a lot going on there. So I would agree with Levi that it's probably not because your editing style is hurting the channel. It's probably because there needs to be some digging on the analytics side, and you can usually pinpoint what the problem is when you start digging into those analytics.
Oh yeah, that was very good points. Very good points there. Very good points. So let's see here. Is that help you out there, Michael? Are we all good on that question?
Yeah, so much for your time.
Awesome. All right, good. Well, thank you all for joining us today. Be sure to check out passiveprospecting.com and sign up for to be notified when we release the book. We just got our launch date for the book on March 7th of 2023, so a little bit more than a month away for the release of the book. We are very excited about that, and I think it's going to be awesome. So we're going to be running some contests. If you're in our Facebook group, you'll see that we'll be running some contests and things. We definitely want to drive up some reviews and some sales on that, which is why we're collecting the list. So in our discussions with the publisher, they informed us that pre-sales do not count towards velocity of sales when you launch. So we figured we would just collect people that were interested and let them know, even though now it's March 7th. So we'll kind of do a little build up to that and have that coming out very soon. So really excited for that, especially we had Ryan Serhant wrote the foreword for us. We just met up with him at Inman last week in New York as well. Got a really cool picture. They just posted that on Instagram as well of him holding the cover of the book with us, and we got that signed, which is pretty cool. It's because it's a giant size picture of the book. So that was a cool opportunity. So let's see, is there any other questions? I haven't checked the chat yet. Let's see, we got some people. Hello, lots of hellos. Could you put the editing program website in the chat? Okay, you can pin that link at the top if you wish, Chrissy. Or you can just go to Passive Prospecting or pin that link at the top. Peyton says she's interested in video editing. Okay, yeah, just go to passiveprospecting.com. Let's see, Zach says iPhone 14 Pros. The phone has an automatic stabilizer. It does crop in a little, but works very well. Yeah, I believe the stabilizer is built into the 11 Pros and above, is my understanding. I just know that I still use it. So, let me see. Jabbar, if we join EXP under Travis and Levi, is there access to free editing sessions? I wish, but no. So we do provide our full digital course, any coachings and trainings and things like that. That's at no charge. We are unable to offer free editing because that's a labor cost. We have a team that's in place to do that, and we have to pay them. So if we offer that for free, it would just be us. It would be us. That would cost us a lot of money because we have a lot of people using that service. But man, if we could offer that, it would be a game changer. I think we'd have a lot of people making the move over. But unfortunately, yeah, we can't offer editing services for free because it's a labor cost, and so we've got to pay a team to do that. Let's see, Zach says you can mute the video you film after filming, and when editing this can all be removed as well. Mary said when filming B-roll around neighborhoods and communities, is there any way to film it without the outdoor noises present on the video? I think that does depend on your microphone. We kind of covered that with the directional mic. That does help out quite a bit, but yes, your editor should be able to reduce some of that background noise as well, just a little bit. So that should help. Jabbar says yes, they can. We'll remove audio. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it can be completely removed. Sometimes it does blend in there, but yeah, it can usually be reduced and things like that.
With the B-roll too, like we removed the sound. They're two separate tracks, so in the editing side, we can pull that out.
Okay. See, Trey says, yeah. Go ahead, Trey. You're on the stage, so feel free to ask another question.
Cool, thank you. So I'm about to start filming videos this week, and I just had a question on doing a first video. Do you recommend a neighborhood video, or does it make more sense to do the main teaser video, or like an introductory video about what I'm doing, or should I just roll on into a neighborhood video?
Yeah, introduction videos, that's interesting because I see a lot of those on channels, and they typically have no views, so the thing is that we feel like introduction videos are a premature sales pitch. It's where somebody comes to your channel and I mean, yeah, maybe it's a little bit informational, but at the same time, it's not really, people are not really coming. Yeah, think about this. Put yourself in the shoes of a person doing research and looking for information to buy or sell a home. They're not necessarily looking for an agent. They're looking for information on the neighborhoods. This is what I love, is that we capture people in the research phase before they've ever decided to hire an agent. So if you come out and the first video they come across is like, my name's Levi, I'm an agent, I've been doing real estate for 10 years, I can help you buy, sell, or invest. They're like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, every agent can do that. There's nothing there that really differentiates you over anything else, and that's not what they're looking for. And so either that video is going to not really have any views because nobody cares anyways, and I think you also run the risk of losing them. They might bounce off if that's the first video they come across, or if it's the thing on your channel. As to where if the first video is a neighborhood tour or something like that, to where it's directly about a neighborhood or something they're researching, they're more likely to say, oh, this is the information I'm looking for. And so then they come back for the information, for the content, and the relationship gets developed with you over time. The more videos they watch, the more of the relationship they develop with you. And then that's whenever they choose you to become their agent. So nobody, as far as I know, has ever watched an introduction video and been like, oh my God, this is my person right here. This is my agent, Are you telling me they've been in the business for 10 years? Wow, I mean, I've got to use this person. And I'm saying that jokingly, and that's not a dig at you there, Trey, at all, because it's a great question, and a lot of people think that, but I'm just trying to, have you think about the mind of the viewer. What are they thinking? And it's typically not that they're looking for an agent in the beginning. Does that make sense?
It does, but I was thinking more along the lines of like doing not so much introducing me, but more about the channel itself and the area that I'm, focusing on. So, not, hey, I'm Trey, I'm the greatest agent ever, you should use me, but like, hey, this is my channel, this is what you have to look forward to, and I'll be focusing on neighborhoods. So,
well, I think, yeah, I see what you're saying on I still think that's explained, and kind of the channel banner is there, so whenever they come to there, that kind of gives them the idea. And then also, if you just get straight into the information as well, they find value in the information. So it's just, you just kind of shortcut, you just kind of bypass that.
Gotcha. And I was planning on, like I say, 8 to 10 videos and have those ready to go before I even posted one. So, I think you're right. Just do the information, get it out there, and then maybe do a teaser video, down the road.
There you go. Sounds like a plan.
Well, and one other thing I would recommend too is, and what we've done in the past is that when you do have enough videos, you've seen that one is performing better than the others, then go ahead and make that your channel trailer. And that way, people are searching for that, so putting that front and center is going to make that successful on your channel. So that's one option that you can do. And the reason that I like to do that is because it makes your channel at its very core evergreen. And that's what we preach on all of the videos, is trying to make it evergreen. Even if you only have 3 videos out, you want to pretend like you've been doing this channel for forever. So, when people do their first vlog, they're like, you've got to make sure that you check out the map video and the pros and cons video. A lot of times they haven't even done the pros and cons video or the map video, but eventually that will be done. So a year later, when someone comes back to the channel, they'll be able to say, there's those videos, I'm going to go check those out. So everything that you do on your channel, you want to be in the mindset of making it evergreen. What's going to make this have longevity in both directions? And so that's why I say it's better to just not do the channel trailer, because I think ultimately you want to give the impression like, I don't need to introduce you to who I am. I've been here forever. That's why you want to be a part of this. So I would go with something that has, even if it's only got 100 views, but it's got more views than anything on the channel, make that your channel trailer, and I think that's going to be more successful for you.
Guys.
All right. Okay, well, we're coming up at the end. I've actually got a hard stop. I've got another call I've got to jump on. So it's funny, I did my first call yesterday at 5 a.m. here in Maui, just because it's like we're 4 hours behind my normal time zone. But that's the thing. We'll do a little bit of work, a little bit of play, a little bit of talk. The cool thing is the conference here is from 3 to 6 p.m. and it's only 3 days. So 3 hours a day for 3 days out of the 7. I think that's a good balance. And of course, then you get to write the trip off. But I'm not a tax advisor, but it's a great way to get out and again meet with the people here. And I've already been invited here, for another speaking opportunity. And that's just again the power of these conferences is the relationships, the opportunities, and everything that comes from that. And so just I encourage everybody always get to your main brokerage, whatever brokerage you're with. They typically have a main conference every year. I think that's one you have to attend, and then get to a skills-based conference. So if you want to learn about video and YouTube, find a video and YouTube conference, or a marketing conference, or a sales conference, or whatever kind of skill set you want to improve on, and then be consistent on that every single year. And you'll develop your conference buddies and conference relationships and things like that, and it just makes it a lot more fun, and there will be a return on it. So I'm going to jump over to the next call. So thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. If you're interested in partnering with us to access our YouTube course and coaching at no cost, schedule a call at passiveprospectingpartner.com.